Solutions Private Limited Digital Learning. So in the part of our full stack Java videos. So as per the student request, I am creating for the Spring Boot 3 security, Spring Security 6, Spring Framework, and Spring Boot 3 security, the library. And so already we implemented the Spring Boot MVC and the Spring Boot 2 security, Spring Boot 2. So what is the main difference between the Spring Boot 2 security library and the Spring Boot 3 library? So it is similar everything, the operations and authentication authorization. Only the libraries import, there is a JavaX persistency, it is a Jakarta API we have to import. So remaining the operations, everything is same. So this video is for the who knows already Spring Boot, Spring Security basic knowledge. And if you don't know Spring Boot security, so I'm giving the overview, so how it will work the Spring Security, so why we need the Spring Security actually. So the few basic theory point I will give, so remaining you can get it somewhere, the resource where you can find the theory part and these other things. But the coding wise, so if you are new or maybe if you know the basic knowledge on the Spring Security, so it is the same thing. Okay. So for better understanding, I'm giving the detailed way. So already we have the Spring Boot 2 security application I have given to the multiple batches, multiple candidates, and Spring Boot 3 similar with Spring Boot 2, and what are the changes I will explain. And for the new to the Spring Security guys, for the new candidates, I am giving the brief introduction on the Spring Security, what is the security and how it will work internally. So then we will go for the coding. So here for the implementation of the Spring Security 6, that is Spring Framework version, Spring Boot 3. Spring Boot 3 means Spring 3 point something is there, like Spring 3 plus I'm giving it. So JDK 17 plus onwards we have to use Maven. By default it will take 3.10 plus or something. You can check it. So JPA and MySQL, or you can go for the NoSQL, or we have the Stu database also. Also we can. So anything you can use it. I'm using the IDE here, Spring Tool Suite version 4 plus. Okay. So if you have these things, it is fine. If you don't have STS, you can go for the IntelliJ IDE also. You can use the Eclipse IDE also. You can use it. So no need to follow the what I'm doing here, but the concept, what is the Spring Security? So 2 version and 3 version library changes, the working flow. So first go for the theory part. So what is the Spring Security? We need a security. Okay. So example, if you go for the any web applications, so clients is nothing but browser or end user. So when you are giving the request to the application, so the giving request to the application is nothing but, so the end user, the user is authenticated or authorized. So authorized in the sense that user is already registered in our application or not. If not registered, you have to go for the creating the account. Okay, and the creating the account time also, we will expect the is the admin or is the user or is the customer, different roles. For admin roles, what we can do, we will do the, so manually in the database we will add it the records, then we will give it to the admin because they are the so authority, complete authority on our application. For admins, we will provide the manually the username and password. For end users, they have to go for the creating the account in our application. So based on that, we can give the access on our application. Example, it is a banking application. As a user, the banking user, so what we can able to see in our application. So if you log into the banking application, example, you can use any banking server. Example, I'm taking the XYZ bank. So in that bank, we can log in, first username and password. If there is any security or authentications, so it will ask the OTP. If or not, you can, it will expect like your username password. If username password is correct, it will go from the your login page to the so dashboard like that. So there you can find transactions and you can add the beneficiary. You can UPI payment, you can scan and pay, or maybe if you want to check your balance, or if you want to go for the fixed deposit, or you can check the loans or something is there, anything. So what are the operations you have? But admin have the control on your account. So you can check your account, you can validate your account. So you can maybe verify your KYC details, these all things, you are the valid data you given to the bank or not, and the amount. So if you are giving the amount to the self transaction, or maybe if you are going to the self deposit in the bank, so the banker can update the balance on your applications, but admin have the more authority on so your applications. User, he can go for the limited services, because as per the RBI rules, as per the government rule, different things. Banking, I'm saying, if you go for the education sector, as a parent, as a student, if you go for the travel domain, as a end user, you can book the train, bus, or flight, or something, you can use it. So for doing the operations, what we have to do here, so first we need to authenticate the user. For authentication, first we need the user account. That account we are storing in the database. So here HT no SQL, it is an inbuilt database actually, but I'm using the MySQL in place of the H2. So there I'm storing the user data. So while login time, if you are given the username, password is valid data or invalid data, we have to authenticate with the help of so SpringBoot, security or Java programming, and these are things we are using for that. So here example, first we will go for the sign up. Sign up is nothing but user is going to create the account. At that time, what is the role is giving to that input. So based on that, we will create the user roles into database. While login time, we will expect. So you can see response with user sign up token. So it will give to the user. You can create it. So once the account creation done, so there is a username password authenticated token. So authenticated token, if you use a JWT, if you use the in memory, then we will load the username, load by username with the help of the JPA, load by username, the username matching password and role we will get from the database. So here request to the sign in, you are giving to the sign in page, there user, you are giving the username password. With the username password, we are getting the data to the our application. So once we load the username by username, the corresponding password, corresponding role, we will fetch it. Then see response with a sign in token. So here is a sign up token, here is a sign in token. The username, password and role is valid, then you will get the so authentic authorization based on the role. So once you done the sign in, you will get the authorization. Authorization nothing but authority on the application. So as a user, what are the operations you can do? Authentication is nothing but just checking the username, password, you are the valid user or not. So that is it. Okay. And coming to the next here, you can see with the help of the your token, the request to the access means the resource means once if you log in successfully, authentication and role it is done, then you can able to go for the dashboard. What are the services, what are the URL links you can able to do. Example, if you take the bank, you can transfer the money, you can request the money, but you cannot do the money in the online. So you cannot increase the money, but if you transfer it, it will reduce the automatically. Like bank, if you go for the bank, there you can self deposit, it will be increase the your amount. If you request the money from the other account, then you can get the money to the so where you requested, it will increase the money. So means as a user, he can able to do the what are the permissible operations you have, that thing only you can do it. If unauthorized unauthorization operations, unable to do it, because it won't display first of all. Based on authentication, authorization, the role, it will give the authority on your application. So for that reason, we have the Spring Security Library and SpringBoot 3. There is a SpringBoot 3. So for that, how we can implement, so how we can secure our application with authorized users. So to achieve the secured users to our application, to maintain the security and vulnerabilities and handling the cross platform request and different users. So to avoid the unauthorized users, it won't get the login. If it is authorized, you will get the login to the application. This is the main thing to use the Spring Security to any web applications. Like if you go for the banking sector, travel domain, or maybe e-commerce applications, any applications, your application becomes very authenticated and authorized with the security data. Then if you use the in Java, we have the Spring Boot security, Spring Framework security. Okay, there is a 6th version. So these are the thing basic requirement for the who are the new to the Spring Security, who don't know what is the security. So what is the basic understanding I'm giving it, the flow on this all this. Then how it will work means, here see how it will work means. So Spring Security authentication entry point. Entry point means when you give the username password while sign up time, we have to store into the database based on the roles. While sign in time, we have to load that username password. You can see user details by, you can see user details from the user details service, then authentication manager. So once free request filter means it will check the authentication username password. Then it is perfect. There is a password encoder, you can say encryption decryption, because we have to get the secure data. Means security means if it is visible to the your username password to everyone, even the backend time, the backend admins, they can utilize your service, they can do the any operations. So for avoiding that malfunctions, we are using the encode and decoding operations. Encryption means once you give the username password, the password is encrypted format will go. Okay, it is for the authentication entry point. Okay, authentication manager from user detail service to load the username password and do the operations like authentication, authorization and encryption decryption. This thing will happen internally. So I will show this all libraries and everything. Okay, then coming to the database, there we have the, as a user or employee or something, any users. So here I have the users and roles, two tables I have. Users contains the username, user email, user password, user details, the phone number, different data what we are giving in the user data. Coming to the roles, so what is the registration time role you are selecting as a user or as a parent, if you go for the education, or if you are the child or student or customer, different roles. Okay, based on the roles. For this user table and roles table, we have the intermediate connection, that is the many to many. Make it means here many to many is nothing but there is a relationship between the users and roles table. User may be many roles, the user may be customer, user may be like vendor, user may be different sectors. So different users, different roles. So those are what we are giving here, the roles are matching to the your id and roles id. So here the mapping between the users and roles table, we are using the many to many mapping. In that many to many mapping, we have the only user id and role id. So based on the user id, role id, we are fetching the data load by username, corresponding username with id and role id, the matching what is the name of the role. Okay, unique IDs. So that's the reason we will get the role matching to the your username, and password we will load it. So at the time, the validation time is the username password is valid. Then what is the role? Then based on the role authority, we will go for the giving to the access to our application. So these things we will see in the application. Okay, so these are the things, lot of things are there. Here you can see the again the JDF document will create these all things. We'll see the there is JPA with Spring Security, database security. So JWT, I hope everyone knows that is very simple actually, JWT without database. Okay, even if you want to store the username password, then you can go for the JWT also, you can do it using database also. Okay, very simple that one. Now, so go for the IDE. Okay, here you can see Spring Security. So what are the libraries we are using? And I'm using the STS 4 plus. Just create a simple Spring Boot starter project. And what are the dependency we need? If you know the Spring Boot 2, the security, the same thing we can use, but the updated features will be, we will import in our application, the code, the roles, okay, everything. Now I will show the first how to create the Spring starter project and add the dependency. Then we'll go for the what is the difference between your Spring Security 2 and Spring Security 3. Okay, just go for the file, the Spring tool suite. Okay, file, new, Spring starter project, Spring starter project. So here I am using Spring Boot 3 data JPA. Okay, Spring Boot 3 security data JPA, using the data JPA. Okay, Spring Boot 3 security we are using data JPA. Okay, and you can see the version Maven I am using. Okay, the build what is the type of the project, Maven project, and the packaging jar or var, so as per your application implementation, front end, back end, everything. And the Java version we have the 23 also, I am using the 21. So 21. And what is the language? We have the Kotlin, Groovy, this all is Java I am using it. Okay, And coming to the package, group id is nothing but package, and name is the project. What we given the project name here, the artifact are also same project name. Okay, the package name. Next we have to select the dependency. So what is the dependency we need? See, so our Spring Boot version is 3.4.2. That's the reason I told Spring Boot 3 plus. So here we need, so if it is not visible here, so you can set to the first we need the web API, we need Spring starter web, we need, so starter web we need Spring MVC like that. And next we need the security web application, we are going for the security. So authorization, we are going the security, Spring Security. Okay, and so we are using the database, so we need the data JPA, we need the data JPA. Okay, data JPA, Spring Boot data JPA. For that we need the MySQL connector, so it is the MySQL connector. Okay, MySQL connector. And if you need LAM book also, you can use the LAM book if it is available. Yeah, LAM book. Okay, so that's it. So we need the web, security, data JPA, MySQL driver, and LAM book. So LAM book for the source address and data solving purpose only. Okay, data purpose, Spring data purpose. That's it. See, Spring LAM book is nothing but so annotation library which helps to reduce boilerplate code. So data we can use the setters, getters, these all things. Now if you want to go for the dev tools, live reloading purpose, if you change anything in your application, so we need the dev tools, Spring Boot dev tools, Spring Boot dev tools. Okay, so these are the required dependencies. So even if you need any other dependencies, we can copy paste from the upscale repository, main repository, or if you have the previous project, you can copy and paste it. Okay, just finish it. So this is simple Spring Boot 3 security application. Okay, so here I am giving the reference purpose. It is a Spring Boot 2 security application. Spring Boot 2 security application. You can see starter data JPA is there, Spring Boot starter security is there. Timely for the front end purpose, we are not using any front end here. And Spring Boot starter web we need, and dev tools for the live reloading, and MySQL connector. They are also using MySQL connector. Okay, this is the front end purpose. That's it. Okay, and another Spring Boot 3 project already we implemented. So here Spring Boot 3 security already implemented. So just for verification purpose, it is a Java version 17, ours is 21. So data JPA, MySQL, starter security, starter web, LAM book. Okay, that's it. Automatically we will get the Spring starter test you will get, and security test you will get by default. So once it is selected the dependency. Now, so what is the difference at all, right, in the Spring Boot 2 security and the Spring Boot 3? See, it is a Spring Boot 2 version. We have to import the in the entity class Java extract persistence API. Okay, you can see user role and roles table. Okay, user and role, you can see persistence. If you go for the Spring Boot 3, so already I have implemented all right. For time being, I'm giving the so direct. I hope everyone knows if you are in the Spring Boot web or Spring Boot 3, if you are working on the application, how to create the entity classes and what are the setters and getters. I hope everyone knows. For time being, I'm giving the application configuration. So just reference code I'm taking it here. Okay, I will share the GitHub repository if you want. So these things I hope everyone knows how to create the entity class and the setters and getters. Okay, so here also you can see. Now the same way we can go for the Spring Boot 3 application also. Okay, so just you can see it is created the project. So you can say Spring Boot 3 security data JPA. Just now we created it. Now if you open the pom.xml file, is there any missing dependency? First check it. First we need the dependency. So starter data JPA, starter security, starter web, dev tools, MySQL connector, LAM book, and you can see by default you will get the starter test and security test you will get it. Okay, so these are the things. So leave it. So dependency is perfect. Now, so it is a depends for the Spring Boot 2. Okay, Spring Boot 2 here also same, but the version is 2, here is a 3. And why I am giving the POSO class as reference, that is NT class reference. When you create the Spring Boot 3, what we have to import? So we have to import Jakarta API. So Jakarta already we have the application, so just I'm creating the entity package here just for your reference. You can see, so already we have it for time being. Okay, so instead of wasting the time, already time is taking more. So here I have the, so it is a Spring Boot security, the base package and configuration and controller entity and repository. So I have the, so 4 packages I need to create, 4 packages. So entity, then repository, then configuration, then control. So like that. So how we will implement the project? The same way only I am going to create the package structure here. Package structure in the src main Java. We will get the by default base package com.test. Okay. Now I am creating the com.test with entity. Some other packages we need entity package, and another package we need config package, repository package, dot repository package, and it is a layered architecture approach. Okay, and config package, and controller package. So that's it. Dot controller. So these are the required packages we need. Inside the entity class, we have to create roles one class. So I'm creating the roles one class and employee one class. So there, what are the data you need? So I will show it. Okay, go for the class, roles class. Okay, finish it. So in the roles, we need the only role ID and role name. That's it. Okay, role ID, private, int ID, private string name. So role ID, role name. So for this, if you want to create the setters and getters, you can create it. Go for the source, generate getters and setters, or you can use the lam book. So RR constructor, no R constructor, you can use it. Setters and getters, the things you can use, data, you can use anything. Okay, at the rate entity. Here we have to import a Jakarta persistence. So it is a Spring to JavaX persistence, Jakarta persistence in the Spring Boot 3. That's the reason. That's it. Okay. So for showing, for that purpose only, I am using the Spring Boot 3 library. Okay, fine. So next, what is the table? So what is the table? So the dependency is the Jakarta persistence only. Now, so I have the existing data. So just for the time being, I am taking it. Okay, just go for it. So here you can see I have the roles. Okay, same, I'm using the ID and name, setters and getters. That's it. Okay, and I'm using the Jakarta persistence. They are also Jakarta only. So if you want to do the same thing, you can do it. Okay, so just for the time being, I'm taking it. You know, not to waste the time. I hope you guys knows very well. So roles. So entity is there, table is there. You can give the table name as per your requirement. You can go for the auto increment of the ID. So that of auto increment. So all the things same only. So auto generated value. Okay, generated value. So auto increment. You can do it. Save it. Strategy. So auto. Okay, so it's the same thing. Just I'm doing the, in place of typing, I'm taking the existing code. That's it. So import lam book. That's it. So ID, persistence, Jakarta persistence. See, everything is same. So in place of JavaX persistence, I am using the Jakarta persistence. That's it. And there is no change actually. So this is the library we have to use it. There also load by username. Here also load by username. Everything is same. Okay, this is the roles table. So I hope understood. You guys know this entity class, how to create it. Okay, fine. Next we need the another class, employee class. So I have the employee class. So I have the employee class. This time using the employee class. Okay, you can go for the same thing only here also. Instead of typing it, take it. Okay, employee class. Employee class. Okay, so take the same dependency and everything. Okay, import everything here. So what are the imports you need? We need the entity. Okay, so all the things you can import it. If you have the dependency, then it will work, otherwise you will get the error. Okay, so id here also same, generated value. So column is the what is the column name you need for it. So unique or nullable, these all things. Okay, so many to many. So giant table. So what is the giant table? So giant column. Okay, giant column. So fetch type. So generation type, cascade type. Okay, that is not giving giant column. Okay, done. Okay, so I have to import giant column. Column is there, giant column also is there. We'll see. Okay, that's it. Save. So we have the roles and we have the employee. So now what will happen, the roles and employee as per the document, it will create the giant column when we are taking the giant column. So what is the giant column we are taking inside the employee? Employee id, role id is the column name. Employee id, role id is the column name. The table is, the giant column is employee roles. Table name is employee roles. Employee id, role id is the column of the table. And employee id contains the employee table ids, and the role ids contains the column role id table date. Okay, so it will be intermediate table in between. So roles and the employee in between, intermediate table. So this is the giant column, automatically create the third table, so intermediate table. So that's the reason. Okay, done. So remaining everything is same, controller and repository. I hope you guys everyone knows. Okay, so now inside the entity I'm taking the, so employee and roles. For this employee entity I need the employee repository. For roles entity I need the roles repository. Create the one by one. So interface, it is interface, role repository or roles repository, anything you can take it. Okay, roles repository extends JPA repository, extends JPA repository. So id is the integer type. Okay, class is the role. Okay, and id is the integer type. That's it. Okay, save. If you need any customized columns or any, if you need the customized queries, you can add the query inside the repository interface. You can do it. Okay, so here you can see roles repository. Okay, that's it. Okay, so that's it. And if you go for the employee repository, we need the find by username. Only that thing only we need to take it. The find by username, employee find by username, we have to take the username as a input, load the username. So it will call internally load the username. For that purpose we need this method extra. That's it. Otherwise not, everything is same only. So create the employee repository, inside the repository, employee repository. Okay, employee repository. Okay, extends JPA repository, class name is employee, import it, id integer. Okay, done. So inside this we need the employee type, load by username. That's it. Pass the input as the username. It will loads the data from the based on the username. Example admin. Okay, otherwise if your username is maybe xyz hero or something, it will load the username from your database. Okay. So these are the repositories. Okay, we done the entity and repositories. Okay, you can see, sorry, here you can see. So we have done entities and we have done the repository. Now the repository is nothing but database connectivity, right? So in the database connectivity, so you can see the application properties file. Okay, so we have to add the your database name and your username, password. These things you have to give it. So my previous project, already created. So for that same details only I'm taking here. Okay, same data. So in the properties file, in place of db1 already created, I'm taking the db2. That's it. Username is root, password. It is a MySQL database configuration. So I hope you guys knows from the JDBC onwards, core Java JDBC. URL link, username, password. And it is a dialect for your MySQL database. And I'm taking the update. Update means it won't drop the table every time. So whatever the data we have, it will carry forward. So previous data, current data, it will be updated automatically. So that's it. You don't have to go for the anything. Now if it comes to your application, so we created the entity and repository for that database configuration. Okay, done. Now inside the configuration package, we need the Spring Security configuration and load by username. So two things we need to do it. So I'm taking the so this explanation I will give it. So I have the document also. Okay, see configuration. So employee details service. So for this we have to go for the inbuilt. So it is a class actually. We are implementing from the interface user detail service. Why we need that user detail service? If we come to the here, you can say the user detail service interface. It is inbuilt library. Okay. So for this, sorry. So you can see the interface will loads the data from the username based on your repository configuration. So for that we need the user detail service interface implement and load by username method. We have to override it. So for that purpose we are using load by username. We need to override that method, inbuilt method. Okay. So we need the class name is user detail service class implements user data, that is user detail service. Okay, go for the creating the class inside the configuration, new class, give the class name. Okay, we need to implements. Okay, implements user detail service. Okay, you can see the user detail service. You can import it. So here what are the methods we have? We have to override that methods, load by username, these all things we have to override. You can see load by username. Everything is inbuilt data we have to utilize with the Spring Security at Spring Boot 3 or Spring Framework 6, these all things. Okay, now you have to, so what is the username you are passing? That username going to the your repository, from there we have to load the username. So this thing we have to load from repository dot that employee. So we have the repository roles and employee repository, find by username. So this method we have to read it. So for the same thing what I'm doing, in place of return null, I have to load the repository dot load by username. So this thing's already done. So just for your reference, you can see we have to go for the employee repository object, employee repository dot. So what is username method we have? So just call the find by username, that's it. Okay, so same thing what we have. So I'm using inside the class. Okay, take it. I will show the code. See, employee repository we have to import. Okay, that's it. Employee from entity package. Okay, don't do it. Okay, okay, that's it. Employee repository contains one method, find by username. The same username method we are returning to the our, so load by username method. You can see it return new Spring Framework Security Core user details dot user username and employee dot get password. What is the password we have in that username? Load by username. See, find by username contains username, with that we have to load the password also. Okay, and with the help of that username, what is the id we have, with that id we have to get the authorities, the roles. What are the authorities we have? Get roles. That's the reason that diagram is giving the clearly user details with user detail service. So from here user details means employee, employee means what is the user, username contains role, contains password. These details we will load with the help of the user detail service inbuilt library with the help of load by username method. So that is the load by username method we are overriding it. I hope you guys knows what is the auto void and what is the repository and these all things. So service for the fake design pattern and data for the, so when we are dealing with your database service. Okay, so the data logbook like that. Okay, so it is a logbook data, that's it. So this is loading the data from the database, your user details. So up to this part is done. Now we need the authentication manager. So authentication manager with once for request filter, free filter and post filter like that, once for request filter. So password encoder. So these things we need to go for the enable web security class, that's it. So that thing already done. So here you can see security configuration, you can go for the security config class. Okay, so just take the complete data and import your security config demo, Spring Security demo. Okay, so up to this is enough. So that is for the JWT join and inbuilt code. So create new class, security config class. So inside the config class just keep your data. Okay, just keep it. So that's it. One second. So we have the deprecation means, so that is a deprecated actually, so means old version maybe you can see. So the method CSRF from the type HTTP security has been deprecated since version 6.1 and marked for removal. So it is deprecated means it will work, but there is no issue. It will support it. Okay, nothing will happen. Okay, next, coming to the your code here. See, configuration is nothing but, so example, if you go for the XML based configuration, there we have to do the security and what is the roles and these are things. Tags we have to use. For avoiding that, we are using the configuration. That configuration class contains the multiple beans, where we keep the multiple beans. So what is the bean is nothing but creating the object for the type of the return type. You can say password encode is the one bean object, that is the one type of object creation. So another object. So there is a multiple beans is nothing but multiple object type we are creating, maybe employee object or customer object, different object we are creating in that. So completely eliminating the XML configuration. Then enable web security. So you guys dealing with the HTTP request methods for accepting the data and validating that, we need the enable web security on the class level. So it will take care, you can see, add this annotation. So at class to have the Spring security configuration depend by web security configure adapter. Okay, so there we need to use the security filter chain bean. What is the security filter chain bean? The filter chain is nothing but, if you know the Spring AOP, servlet filters, there is a filter chain and authentication provider. Every URL link we have the one filter chain. There is the different, like example, sign up one filter chain and login one filter chain. So create user, and if you go for the read user, update user, delete user, every URL link we have one filter chain. So to authenticate, authorize the your request processing, we have to pre-process and post-process. It will work the internally filter chain. I will show that hierarchy also if you need explanation. Okay, so here you can see security filter chain contains the HTTP request is the argument. What is the HTTP request we are giving to that one? Then we have to accept the URL links. Every URL link have the authentication authorization. Okay, and there if you go for the has role, pre-authorize and post-authorize, these things we have. Okay, pre-authorize has role and set roles. What is the role if you have? So contains admin, contains user role. So these things we will go for the pre-authorize on the method level in the controller layer. I will show that. Okay. Then authentication manager, it will be check your authentication configuration. So what is the authentication provider is giving the details, user details, and validate that and give the permit to the your application. So these are the Spring security configuration. So for this explanation, if you need, so here the base code encryptor means password encoder. So I told it password encryption decryption purpose. Okay. Now coming to the, so here password encoder. So we done right. Now for your better understanding purpose, okay, I will show the filter chain and these all things. Okay, so there is inbuilt implementation how it will work. So provider, authentication provider manager, there we have authentication provider. If you go for the in detail, there is a user and a filter. That filter contains the filter chain. You can see the security filter. You can say security Spring security filters, Spring security filter chain. You can see filter chain proxy. Every URL link we have the one filter chain proxy. There you can see filter chain proxy, filter chain proxy. Proxy is nothing but it will be creating token in your application. So login and sign up and read and delete, update. So every URL link we have the pre-processing, post-processing. So for this we need the security filters also before giving the request, after giving the request. So if you know the servlet filters, you can understand very quickly, like pre-processing, post-processing. There is a do filter, it will go for the before resource setting, after resource setting. So for this is internal implementation. When we are in the live session, I will give this in detailed way actually. It is a simple explanation for your understanding what is happening in the configuration class. Okay, that's it. Now Finally, what we need? Controller we need. So what we need? Controller. Inside the controller we have the, so go for the create and read, okay, and these things. So just I'm taking the existing data. It is very simple. I hope you guys knows the employee controller and different things, right? And get mapping, post mapping, we have the, so put mapping. Okay. So here I'm using very simple concept. If you don't know how to create the controller, then I will tell it, because it is a Spring Boot MVC, right? MVC application only we are doing. Spring Security demo part, okay, configuration details and Spring Security configuration done. And we have the controller, employee controller. So use the class. So Spring Security is for, so who knows already Spring Framework or Spring Boot MVC operation. For that HTTP request we are validating. Okay. Just one layer we are adding it. Okay. Configuration layer. So here you can see HTTP.response entity. So there is no use, then remove it. So REST controller for the accessing your REST protocol, RestAPI protocol, okay. And request mapping for the class level URL link or method level also we can take. Request mapping annotation we can use method level and class level. So if you use a class level, that is a common URL link for the get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, common URL link. Okay, API v1 implies. Okay, done. Now, so here you can see get mapping pre-authorize has role user or has role admin. So then we will give the authentication method headers. The method I will show the postman how to test the application. You receive the all employee list. Okay. Then if you go for the post mapping and pre-authorize has role admin. Okay. You can see pre-authorize has role user has role admin, or else you can see the role admin or user. So both user and admin they can read the get all employees. And a save employee only admin can save the employee, not the user. Okay, create the employee. Okay. Put mapping has role admin. You can update the data. You can create the data. You can update the data. For reading, user and admin both they can do the operations. This is a simple controller layer. So if you come from the Spring MVC application, so Spring MVC application contains already everything like entity, repositories, controllers, and exception handling. Everything will be there. Okay, and we are adding that existing Spring Boot or Spring MVC application only one thing, that is configuration details. That's it. If you copy paste this package in your Spring MVC application, then we can implement the Spring Security operations. That's it. Okay. So this is the Spring Boot 3 plus and the Spring Security, the Spring MVC Framework Security 6 version, 6 plus and 3 plus. Now what we have to do, so if you run the application, it will create the table. So for that what I'm doing the one simple manual data. So manual data means, so example, if you want to provide the user data, so admin data for the user. Okay, so I will show that. So just encoded and decoded data purpose only, that's it. So manual username password. Okay, so here you can see, so I have the employee table. For that I'm adding the user. Okay, user 1, user 2, and roles also, one role user, one role admin. So intermediate table you can say into employee roles I'm updating the 1 1 2 2. So 2 roles and 2 users, that's it. Okay, so user and admin. Now so just run the application. First run the application, it will create the table and database, because we didn't create it the manually. So it will create automatically what is the configuration we are doing here. So it will create the database too and tables and everything. Okay, so start from main method class. How we can start? Main method class. If there is any issues, it will give the error. We have to resolve it. Okay, run as Spring Boot app. It is Spring Boot 3 security and Spring Framework 6 version. Okay. Now you can see So 8080 application is started, okay, and the table and everything is will be done. Okay, done. Now you can verify in your database, MySQL database, use database 2. Okay, if it is created it will be execute. Okay, inside that I have the employee table. Okay, so what is the table we have, you can see. So what is the table in entity? Employee table. Okay, employee table, and we have the roles table. If you see the roles table, okay, you can check it, employee roles and employee roles. Okay, two users and executing two, it is encrypted data. Okay, encrypted data. And two roles, we have the role user, role admin. And for the intermediate table we have the intermediate table 1 1, so user id and role id, like that. Okay, done. So we have inserted the data. Now so go for the postman, for the postman. Okay, just if you use a Swagger document, that is Swagger API, no need to go for the postman. You can use directly Swagger API also to test the HTTP request. We can test and we can document these are things. Okay. Now you can just check it. What are the endpoints we have? Employee controller API v1 employees is the URL link. Get mapping, post mapping, put mapping. Now you can see get mapping. Here you can see employees. Okay. So if you go for the authorization, we are using the basic authorization. So what is the username password we have? What is the username password? So one is the Sam, one is the Jan. Okay. So you can see the Sam. Okay. Password also Sam only. If you click on send, so you can see the you received all employee list. Okay, all employee list, because it is admin. You can see you received all employee list as role admin. You can see the what is the user id in database. Sam is the 2. What is the 2 role id is the role admin. So admin can go for the list of all the data. Post mapping, you can see the as role admin employee post mapping. Okay, post mapping. So Sam is the admin. You can create the user also. You saved employee. For the post mapping, if you go for the John, okay, John, okay, John. Now you can see post mapping John. So because 403 request forbidden. So because the post mapping user, see post mapping there is no user access. User can go for the only get all the employee list. Now you can see in place of post, if I go for the get John, you can see the you received all the employee list. Now what you are understood, Spring Security is giving the what is the authority you have on our application, the same authority only we can access it. If you have the user role, you cannot do the admin access. What are the user permission you have, that up to that only we can access to our application. Right? I hope understood it. So get mapping, user role is there, admin is there. For post and put, there is no user. Admin only they can go for the put and create list all things. Okay, you can see the put mapping. If you request it, John is the user. John is the user. You won't get it. Okay. Now in place of John, you can use the Sam for updating. Okay. You can see you updated your employee. I hope all the endpoint we have tested, and I have given the explanation on the what is the Spring Security Basic. So the document here, the reference, okay, what is the roles in these all things. So here you can see that is the basic data actually. So what is the pre-authorize as well, these things, basic theory part, okay, what I'm explaining in the coding, and the internal working flow of application. So what is the intermediate table, what is the hierarchy, these all things, okay, and how to create step by step, yes. So and I will give the source code, okay, and I will give the source code in repository in my description. So there you can go for the Spring Boot 3 and Spring Boot 2. The reference code I will give in the GitHub links, okay, you can take it from there. Okay, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share it with your friends, and so if there is any questions you can comment in your comment section. Okay, thank you to all.